When it comes to General Hospital, every fan has their own opinion, and Soap Hub is no different. For 5 days, we sat and watched the good, the bad, and everything in between, and now we offer you a handy review, and a cheeky critique, of the GH week that was General Hospital, a Critic's Week in Review. It suddenly occurred to me that I spend an inordinate amount of time complaining about the insertion of Carly Corinthus, Laura Wright, into just about every single storyline on the General Hospital canvas, whether her presence is called for or not. So, having watched Carly co-opt what rightfully should have been Alexis Davis's plot, I'm going to try something a little different, and beg General Hospital's Dan and Chris and Dan to give their pet character even more to do. Let's have Carly take pity on sad sack Curtis Ashford, Donald Turner, by not only wrapping a friendly arm around him and telling him he was right to pry, but also tracking Marshall, Robert Gossett, down to read him the riot act for abandoning his family just because he was embarrassed by his forced stint in an institution. And, of course, it should be Carly who rides to Trina Robinson's, to Bayana Ali, rescue and outs Esme Prince, Avery Kristen Pohl, as the venomous scorpion. She, Trina, Jocelyn Jacks, Eden McCoy, and Laura Collins, Jeannie Francis, know her to be. Afterward, Carly can then weigh in on whether Trina should forgive Spencer Cassadine, Nicholas Alexander Chavez, for his dumbassery, or see if Rory Cabrera, Michael Blake Cruz, might like to be more than a friend and constant companion. Oh, and don't fret, you Keystone Coppers. If you just give Carly 5 minutes, I'm sure she could figure out who's been menacing Elizabeth Weber, Rebecca Herbst, assuming that it isn't Carly herself who's the culprit. I mean, if the General Hospital team is looking for a way to tie Carly into this tale, there you go. What else could Carly do? Lord knows that she is not used enough and is in desperate want of a story. Oh, I've got it. I've really got it. Back the hell off Anna Devane, Finola Hughes, and co. You're no longer needed. It's Carly who'll somehow tie Victor Cassadine, Charles Shaughnessy, to Luke's supposed death, and she'll be the one to prove that it's Victor and Valentine Cassadine, James Patrick Stewart, trying to railroad old Jennifer Smith. Her GH musings: if I didn't like Hamilton Finn, Michael Easton, before, and he was never one of my favorites, I certainly don't now, in light of the way he addressed the divine Mississippi. Lynn Herring. Finn, apology very much not accepted. I get it, General Hospital, despite Sonny naming Brick, Stephen A. Smith, his second, you're setting Brando Corbin, Johnny Wachter, up to be the second coming of Jason Morgan. Do you have to be so dang obvious? Even Jason didn't buy to and praise his boss as much Brando has done as of late. Hasn't it been made clear that Cameron Weber, William Lipton, lives on campus at PCU? Why was Liz so relieved to hear that he'd be spending the night with a friend at the dorms? Hypocrite by name is Portia Robinson, Brooke Kerr. There she was, judging Curtis for employing subterfuge and going behind Marshall's back, and not looping her in and blah blah blah, and she's keeping a whopper of a secret concerning her daughter's paternity. Sure, there had to be some excuse for Sasha Gilmore, Sophia Matson, to be driving erratically down that particular stretch of highway, but did it really have to stem from her needing to quell a panic attack with Pulse because an overzealous nightcrawler wanted to take her picture? She's a very famous, infamous, spokesmodel. Isn't it her job to be photographed on and off a set? To be clear, Michael Corinthus, Chad Jewell, became dead to me the moment he forgave Sonny Corinthus, Maurice Bernard, for murdering his biological father in cold blood and then showing very little to no remorse for doing so. And it's funny that Michael objects to both Sonny's infidelity, when he and Carly are no better, and to Sonny's ties to organized crime when he's never had a problem with it before so long as he benefited from it. Heck, he even once tried to take over for his playpops when Sonny was otherwise indisposed. That being said, this longtime General Hospital viewer laughed out loud when Sonny said he'd gone out of his way to give his kids a better life than he'd had. I mean, Morgan Corinthus is dead, and Michael has been shot in the head, imprisoned, raped, and more. How is any of that better than what Sonny had? When speaking to the 911 dispatch operator, why did Alexis explain that someone is trying to kill us, rather than identify Harmony, Inga Cotter now, as that someone? General Hospital, GH, airs weekdays on ABC. Check your local listings for airtimes. For more about what's coming up in Port Charles, check out all the latest that's been posted on GH Spoilers, and for an in-depth look at the show's history, click here. Ad block test, why?